All right, so if you've graded with PSA before, then card the grades come back. You can add those to your collection. Once you've added them to your collection, your PSA collection, it's going to look a little bit like this right here. And then right underneath that, you can see the little PSA with the value. That's PSA's estimated value of what they say the card is worth. And that's, of course, based off of actual sales data. The thing is, for me, whenever I've seen those types of estimates on card values and things like that, I have a hard time trusting them unless I go comp out the card myself. So I've always wondered, are these numbers accurate, right? So let's go ahead and see. Do a little searching ourselves. First time I've ever actually verified. Let's start with the cheapest ones. We got the Solace, we got the Trout, we've got the Wit, and we've got that big old juicy Otani. So I figured let's start with the least valuable and then kind of work our way up on that. See what we can find. So up first, we got ourselves a little Ethan Salas, which let me tell you something right now. That value has come down massively in the last 2 years. Unfortunate for me because I did not pay $856 for this card. Yikes. Well, let's see. So heading on over to 130 point. That's what I use for everything. 130 point is awesome. So freaking awesome. Especially if you know how to use it. That's the most important thing. I've heard, positive, negative things from 130 point. It's the most accurate out there. And what I've found is people who have a hard time comping cards out on 130 point, they simply just put in too much information. So we can talk about that on a different video. Okay, so heading over to 130 point, we're going to start with that Ethan Salas. That's that gold sparkle. Actually, gold. That's right. They did call it mini diamond, even though this is not the mini diamond design. They've changed that around a little bit. But that Ethan Salas mini diamond. So we're going to go Ethan Salas. Oh my gosh, can I type? Ethan Salas, 2023 Bowman Chrome Auto 50. And then we're going to take out some stuff. A lot of people don't realize this. You just do a little minus or dash sign. We don't want megas. We don't want mojos. What else did he sign in that year in 23? Well, let's see. We'll clean it up as we go. I like to put less information in and then minus stuff out rather than putting in too much information, essentially. So we've got 2 sales in the last couple of months. One, of course, is a BGS 8.5. That doesn't really help us. Here we go, though. Gold Shimmer back in April. That sold for $840. So one would suggest that's right around there. Now there is a difference between a true gold and then the variation gold, which of course we have like Shimmer, the mini diamond, trying to remember Wave, of course, as well. Any of those are going to be right around each other. Of course, different people have different preferences on which their favorite secondary parallel is, but the true variation, which is the true gold without any of the shimmer, the sparkle, the wave, that's always going to be the most valuable. This, of course, being a mini diamond. So that comp, the 856, when right here, we can see sold for 840 just a couple of months ago. Not a ton of data. That would seem to be true. I'm going to try a different parallel. Let's go 25. Let's see if we can get ourselves a PSA 10 on that. There's the shimmer. That one's actually a little bit longer ago, 1800, so I'd rather trust the actual gold parallel than the orange parallel. Going in on that. But I'd say the first one passes. Not that we've had anything super recent on sales, but even just a couple of months ago, that's pretty spot on. So going to our next one, let's go by value. So we'll go the Trout. We'll go that Trout. That is the 2011 finest. That's his rookie X-Fractor auto out of 299. I don't know how much data we're going to have on that, but worth a shot to see if we can find something. So we got Mike Trout 2011 fine. Well, that doesn't matter. Finest auto. We'll go with PSA 10 first and see if we've got it. We can always bring it back. Finest auto, that's the attitude. I don't like to do the slash 299 when I'm searching because not every. So the little trick to 130 point is if you put something into the search that isn't in the listing, it's not going to show up. So that's why I like to put the bare minimum, because, you know, someone listing this card, if it was the actual, the X-Fractor out of 299 auto, they're of course going to put his name. Odds are they're going to put the year, the product, the fact that it's an auto, and then of course the number. Now some people put numbered 299, most put slash, of course, 299, but not everyone does. So that's why I don't personally like to do a slash. But see, even leaving out the slash, we're still going to have sales data here on that, right? So we have sold on March. That was last year. I don't love those. You know, I don't love stuff that's even 2 or 3 months in the past, because the market's just ever changing. So let's take off the PSA for now. See if we can find something a little bit more recent. There we go. All right. So a pristine black label sold for 12,000 of this card. A pristine black label is going to usually add anywhere from like 5x to sometimes even 10x of a card. So that's not very promising on that valuation there. But also in April, then we had an actual 9.5 for 2250. So February 3480 on a 9.5. I don't love it. I don't love that one. Let's see. Oh, actually, I keep forgetting. That's a PSA 9 on Trout. No shot it's worth that. No shot whatsoever. I would put the comp for this specific card, seeing as it is an actual, see there, the 9, see if the camera won't take it away. There it is. The 910 on that card, it is not worth 5,500. No shot. Now, would someone be willing to pay that? It's always possible. But based off of the actual sales data in the last, what's that, 3 months ago, I would have to say no, because that's a BGS 9.5, which is definitely more valuable than a PSA 9. No. I'm going to say that one's wrong. So we were correct on the Solace, not so correct on the Trout. Who's up next? Wit. My absolute favorite card. My absolute favorite card. I pulled this one myself. This Wit here at the top. Graded it, all that. Wit's my favorite active player too. I think he's such a exciting, fun player to watch. And so pulling that card on top of it just makes it all the more special. So we have Bobby Witt, 2020 Bowman Auto 100. Let's see if we can. This one's PSA 10, Auto 10. So dual grade. Let's see if we have a 10 that's sold recent. Yeah. Drop that down. That's back in May. So literally just a month and a half ago. Coming up on 2 months. But still, that one went for 8. And that's also just the PSA 10, not the PSA 1010, which that extra 10 is going to add some value to it. Usually not a ton. I'd say anywhere from like 5 to 10%. Now, if the pop count is drastically different for some reason, maybe there's 20 on a PSA 10 and then only 3 on a PSA 1010, then maybe it might be a little bit more. But, a safe bet's going to be in that 5 to 10% range. So 8,000 is what it last sold for. Buy it now. And they've got it right around there. If anything, I think that PSA estimate, based off of this sell 2 months ago, is actually a little bit low. Once again, everything's always changing. But if there's one person's market, well, there's more than just one. But Witt's market doesn't usually drop, especially with how well he always consistently hits and plays. Let's see if we can find a non-PSA 10 that's sold recently. No, it's going to be that one. So yeah, I mean, I would say that that's definitely, that 79.33 is not far enough off to where I'd say they're wrong. If anything, I'd rather them be, their estimates be on the side of a little bit conservative than not. Now, of course, we actually have another one here. I think this one is a 1010. It's a little too small to see, but that one sold for 87.50. So, and that was just a week before this one that sold for 8. So, and like I said, it adds usually about that 10% value, which that's right around there. So, yeah, I'd say that valuation's pretty close. If anything, it's probably a little bit higher. And then the last one. this beast right here. This is the Shohei Ohtani 2018 rookie definitive collection. It's going to keep disappearing. There it is. And that is his PSA 10 auto out of 50. Out of 50. I picked this one up for like $6K. I want to say that was about 2.5 years ago now. PSA saying 20K. It's Ohtani, so it's very possible. I don't want to get my hopes up for that, but that would be awesome. So I don't, what's the odds that we might not have data on this one anyways, but I don't know how often these definitive collections out of 50 are selling. So, but we'll give it a shot. Definitive auto 50, and well, well, I gotta say that one's probably pretty accurate then. That was what? Same thing about 2 months ago. On bid sold for $19,750. So, that 20K would suggest to be accurate, which is insane. I mean, it's at the same time, it's not. It's freaking Shohei Ohtani, and he's a monster. But there it is, right there. 2 months ago, 19, and it's just going up because even two days before, someone made an offer and bought it for 14, and then 4 days before that, also bought one for 14. So 14, and then jumped up on bid to 19,750. So, I'd say that one's right. Not bad. We have more. We can comp out some more in another video, but 3 out of the 4 were pretty good. Right, pretty much right on. So, so far I'd say that you can probably trust it. But for me, if you can't trust it 100% of the time, then you should always probably just go check to be certain. Because if someone went onto the PSA, they're like, hey, I really want this Trout card. Right? And they go to PSA and they're like, oh, okay. I'll go find one, and if I can get it for 5,000, then I'm getting a deal. Whereas we know after going and looking here, that's not the case. When BGS 9.5s are going for 200-300 range, this PSA 9 that I have is definitely not. So if you're just kind of going real quick and wanting a quick estimate that you can probably trust, well, then it's okay. But if you're actually going to go make an offer and buy, head over to 130 point, comp it out. If you're not the best on, now I will say, that just kind of, you get the hang of it on the 130 point, but if you're never just not 100% sure, you're having a hard time comping it out, make sure you join our Discord. Links in the bio for that. And we actually have a channel or a topic, whatever they call them, on Discord that is specifically called card comps. So you can go there, drop a picture of your card, and then I will personally go and comp it out for you. I only charge $1 million for that service. No, it's free. But yeah, so hop in there, check that out. If you have any PSA ones that you want me to verify as well, feel free to send them over. I'd love to do more of these. See ya!